Hello, welcome to the Sax Hack. The other night I couldn't sleep, so sometimes I count things, and instead of counting sheep, I decided to count all the alto saxophones that I've ever owned. The total is 14, and I currently have 5. So I've been buying and selling a lot, and I thought I would make a little video kind of as a buying guide, showing how to find good deals on online auction sites. Let me first show off my collection here. Here is my Vito Bonnier alto. What did I pay for this? I don't know. Something like $96, I think. And here I have made in Japan Vito. This one I got for $66, but it didn't have a neck. I was able to buy a Yamaha neck that works perfectly for about $65, so I have about $130 in this horn. This one had a few issues. It had some dents in the lower stack here. Here I have my beautiful 1930s Pan American that I stripped. Still looks gorgeous. It does not have a front E key, however, so then that made me go shopping, and I found this Pan American from 1953 that does have a front E key, whatever. I paid $99 for that. And then finally over here I have my 1957 Con 14M Shooting Stars. I paid $125 for that. So these 5 horns here, none of them cost more than $125. Alto saxophones are just so cheap these days. Tenor saxes are definitely more. I'm going to talk about how to find good deals on used horns. There's good deals and bad deals out there, and I think I've succeeded in getting 5 really good deals here, because these horns right now are all really nice players. Okay, here's a demo and a little bit more about each. This is the Bonnier French-made Vito, probably assembled in Kenosha, Wisconsin. There's a lot of mystery about these horns. There's a lot of different variations in the key work, and the serial numbers kind of don't really help you date it very easily. But certain features of it do, like this bell brace here is a very distinctive mark of a Bonnier alto. And this is the one you've seen before because I de-linked the C sharp and G sharp, and I'm glad I did because the action is much better. This horn has fabulous action, really good intonation. I can't believe what a value these French Vitos are. Yep, I love this one a lot. When I got this horn working, I thought, okay, that's the horn I'm going to keep. But then I got this one, made in Japan Vito. These are essentially identical horns to the Yamaha YAS 21 or 23. You can tell by this long one-piece key brace here. And also this pinky table is a pretty distinctive marker of a Yamaha. In fact, this is the horn that came with no neck, and I got a Yamaha neck for it. This one had dents. It still has a dented bell and a pretty serious dent here in the bow. I didn't have any hopes for this one. I thought I would just work on it a little bit and then sell it, but man, I like it. The neck strap holder must be higher on this one because my one-piece strap doesn't work here. All right, so here's the Japanese Vito. Pretty good, except maybe a tiny leak somewhere down there, but again, good action. I think this pinky table is a little weird and takes some getting used to myself. Probably because I've just been a con player for so long. But pretty incredible bargain at $66 plus $65 for a neck. And here I have my 1930s something Pan American, which I stripped, and it's just beautiful. And I got this playing pretty well recently. Man, these Pan Ams just have, they have so much power. They may be a little darker, but they still just really sing, and really, I think, a good horn for rock and roll music especially. And here's my latest acquisition. This is the 1953 Pan American. I bought this for $99. I believe with free shipping on eBay. When it arrived, the pads were in great condition. I had to maybe level a couple things, but it needed hardly any work, and I pretty much love it. You know, this pinky table is sort of odd, but I really sort of like it. You know, other ones have the B key in the middle between the C sharp and the B flat, and I think it's kind of hard to find it. This one has the B flat down here at the bottom, and there's no doubt about it, right? So you have C sharp B here. It's easy to navigate, in my opinion. I'm going to keep one of these as my horn, but I don't know which. And I wish the decision was easier. This is one of the prettier ones I have. This is the 1957 Con 14M. Is it better because it's Con rather than Pan American? They're made by the same company. I'm not sure if there really is an advantage. Now this one does have that other style pinky table, more like the new Wonder Horn. And this is a real good player too. All of these horns, I think, just play so well. And I suppose they're all considered student models, but really, I think I would rather have any one of these 5 horns than something like a Selmer Bundy or even a King 613, which are not bad. But I've always loved Kahn, and there's no market for altos. There's probably just way more alto saxophones floating around out there than there are people to play them. Tenors are a lot more expensive. It's very difficult to find a tenor sax for less than $200. And a lot of them go for much more, probably because there's fewer of them. Let me show you a few of the deals that I've seen recently on online auction sites. This is from shopgoodwill.com, and this is a Con 14M Shooting Stars, sold for $93. Here's another one, sold for $121. Those are great deals, especially if you look and make sure the horn is not dented, it's complete with the neck. Con Chewberry models, especially silver-plated ones, tend to be expensive. This is a pretty good deal for one at $226. Sometimes people can't identify the horns that they're selling. If you zoom in, you can see that this is a Kahn by the distinctive low C key guard. But there might be fewer bidders since the title doesn't say Kahn. As I said, tenors are more expensive. And sometimes on the Goodwill website, people pay way too much money for horns, in my opinion. Sometimes the bidding just goes up and up. Like, here's a Chewberry tenor sax, sold for $968. Condition unknown. That's taking a pretty big risk, in my opinion. Here's a Bonnier-made Vito, probably made in Kenosha. Amazing horns, and as you can see, completely undervalued. Yamahas, even the student models YAS 21 and 23, tend to be expensive, but the Vitos made in Japan by Yamaha are identical horns, and as you can see here, usually much, much cheaper. Here's another example of someone who didn't know exactly what they were selling. This is obviously not a soprano saxophone, it's an alto. But Zephyr is a really good brand by King, and at $351, that's a pretty good deal. When you're bidding on saxophones, it's important to look really carefully at the pictures. This Vito looks like a good deal, but if you scroll through the pictures, you'll notice here there is a tone hole with no key on it. Most sellers are good about showing you the flaws, but this one looks like it's missing some kind of a post or something. Finding replacement parts can be really expensive, so unless you have the skills and the energy, you might want to pass on a horn like this. Having said that, I did buy this Martin Committee 1 baritone sax for a pretty good price without a neck. I figured I could find one. How hard could it be? I really didn't know what I was getting into. But as it turns out, I got lucky because the Con 12M baritone necks work on this horn, and replacements are available for pretty cheap from China. So I bought one of these, and so for $500 or so, I got a killer baritone sax. But there's other baritones that would be way harder, where the octave key is not going to line up, and it's taking a risk unless you know what you're doing for sure. Besides looking for missing parts, something else that you should look for are dents. Sometimes it's not a big deal if a horn has dents somewhere in the bell or the bow, but if it affects the operation of the saxophone, like this one here, which prevents the neck from going all the way on, unless you have some experience pulling dents or are brave, this might be something that you want to avoid. But if you are willing and have some skills, you can sometimes find good deals. Here's a nice Bonnier Vito saxophone, and the neck tenon is stuck in the neck. I bought an Acme Artist saxophone with the same issue. If you know what you're doing, it's not a very big deal to get the tenon out and solder it back on. If you don't know what you're doing, then taking it to a repair shop would cost more than you paid for the horn. Finally, a few words about the fetishization of saxophones. Really beautiful horns, naked ladies, horns with beautiful engraving, really nice finishes, like you see on this spectacular King's Gold and Silver Super 20. And these horns fetch insane prices, maybe for good reasons. They're beautiful, but expensive horns are not necessarily always better players than uglier, less expensive horns. Case in point, the Conn 10M. People pay a lot of money for Conn naked ladies, but the Conn 10M without the naked lady is often much cheaper, $212. That was a steal. It's not nearly as pretty. It's not a fetish object. You probably won't want to have sex with it, but it probably plays essentially the same as the more beautiful 1940s Conn naked lady. I hope this was helpful, everybody. Happy hunting.